Hi, this is Grace Duffy from formerlygracie.com, and today's Blog Mom topic comes from Hillary of My Scraps. She asks, what are our 3 best blog conference tips? As you can see, I just came back from the Type A Parent Conference in Charlotte, where I was a Type A Con veteran. But I've been to plenty of blog conferences, and I can tell you that they get really expensive really fast. So the best way to save money is to find a roommate, or 2 or 3, to split the cost of the hotel. So I wanted to give you my 3 best tips for finding a really awesome blog conference roommate. Number 1, make sure you know the person's first and last name. Now, I think the internet is the only place where you can find someone and then 3 minutes later be sleeping 2 inches away from them. Now, while I think the mom blogging community is pretty cool and pretty tight and don't really have many concerns in that regard, it's still a good idea to share with your roommates your first and last name, or know your roommate's first and last name before you just agree to room with them. I was at a blog conference in San Francisco with someone that I had known for a very long time through blogging, and she and I were going around town, driving around, and I think it was the second day of the conference where she turns around to me and she says, "Is Grace Duffy your real name?" And I thought that was hilarious because I'd been sleeping next to her for 2 days, and she honestly had no idea that that was my real name. So, unfortunately for her, I'm not a psychopath, and I did not try to kill her, but you never know. You never know. Second piece of advice is to try to find someone that matches your energy level and temperament. I know that going to a blog conference can kind of be emotional. It can also be very tiring, and but it's also a lot of fun. So, that does certain things to different people. Like, some people need a lot of quiet time, they need a lot of space. I like to come home after a long night or long day of going to the conference and going to the parties, and I like to come back to my roommates and chit chat. I like to debrief about who we saw and what we did and what we thought of the speakers and the different conversations we all had. And definitely lots of fun, but I don't know that I would be a great match for someone who wants to come back to the room at night and just be really quiet and, needs a lot of, alone time. Probably not a good match for you. But, whatever. My last piece of advice, and probably the most important, is before you head out for the conference, make sure that you and your roommates have already discussed how you want to divide up the hotel bill. I think the easiest way is to take your 2 credit cards, or 3, or whatever, and take them down the front desk and say, split up the bill this way. But, there's stuff like room service, or parking, or internet. You're definitely going to use the internet because it's a blog conference, but there probably should be a conversation of what you expect and how you want to divide it up. The other thing is, some people want to put it on their credit card and then have you pay them cash or write a check. Probably good advice to let them know that beforehand so that they come prepared with their checkbook, or vice versa, that you come prepared with yours or with cash. I know plenty of really great people who really just don't sweat it, and they just say, you know what, just get the money to me later. But I tend to forget, so I like to deal with those kind of things just right then and there, and it kind of makes it for an easier time, because then you're not stressing out about who's paying for what and what's going on and all that. So those are my 3 blog conference roommate, or advice for finding a great blog conference roommate. Know their name, make sure they match you in energy level and temperament, and then make sure you talk about the dividing up the costs. So I'm curious what your advice is for having a great blog conference experience.